See the week before Christmas, and a lot of craziness out there. The mean, in my opinion, of VIX mean reversion. I think the VIX is bottomed out. That was my thesis for the week. We have. Hold on a second, my YouTube just came on. All right, cool. Now we're good to go. So, mean or VIX reversion. VIX has been hovering around 13 or 12 for about a week or so, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and in my opinion, it's not going to bottom out any more than that. And especially with FOMC, with triple witching on Friday, I think that we're going to see a pop-a-roni on the VIX and ultimately a little bit of red, a little bit more red action to close the week. The early of the week, I could see recapturing of some new ATHs. Speaking of which, liquidity at 6085. NASDAQ put on about 100 and so points to the upside overnight as they continually buy the pre-market. That is a very common theme, to buy the pre-market. What's up, H. Lopez? How you doing? Kevin? Dan? Good morning. Good morning. Market is now open. What's up, YouTube? Zach? Buenos dias. Already out of the gate with a new high, 21,920. That's a new overnight, daily, weekly, etc., etc. 920. Liquidity on ES is 6085. ES is coming up. In my opinion, RTY is going to drop down to the 20s as it's still crushing over. The same old theme is happening. The same exact setup every day for weeks. NVIDIA red, Microsoft green, small caps getting smoked, and NASDAQ rocketing. It's the same exact setup. Complete divergence between tech. Banks red, small caps red. ES is completely diverged from the NASDAQ. Top wicking back over while NASDAQ rolls. So that's the whole theme, is divergence, rotation out of small caps and everything for that matter into the mega caps. All of the mega caps are green, very green, except for NVIDIA. NVIDIA is red as they continue to underperform. What you know about that? Nice little top wick on NASDAQ as they peak above. NVIDIA is getting plunged down to 133.18. Beautiful. Huge sweeping top wick on ES. NASDAQ is 900. This week I'm going to be playing early bullishness week. I would say consolidation to week, and then followed by I'm playing a red thesis into the end of the week. In fact, I may even put on my swing trade to start positioning. I've been waiting for this trade for a couple of weeks now and preparing for it, and I think this week will be the week of execution. Anybody get abducted by some aliens up in New Jersey? Yeah, buddy. Sweeping top wick NASDAQ. Microsoft top wicking. NVIDIA is putting on large red candles as we're still attempting to breach the 920 area. This thing on? Check, check. 21,937 liquidity up top, and then 21,862 on the bottom. ES is plunging lower. NASDAQ is going higher. Still, complete divergence. But I do think that'll fail eventually because I'm seeing Microsoft smoke the bottom. I'm seeing NASDAQ come into the 9.3 area. What time is it? 3 minutes in. Huge sweeping top wick on ES. Right here. There's another top wick on NASDAQ. Unable to hold anything. Still unable to kind of get above the all-time high area here. NVIDIA still plummeting. Huge red sweeping on NVIDIA down to 132. NVIDIA is approaching their main support. We talked about it last night in the weekly brief channel. If NVIDIA gives out that support, then it's probably going to be another 15 points down for them. There's another sweeping top wick. time is it? We're starting out the week with very weak catalysts. We bounce or we be careful, yeah. My AVGO shares are now up over 200%. Nice, McGurky. NASDAQ bouncing back up, so wicking all over the place. Woke up to a wife next. Woke up to a face mask. Thought it was an alien. I love it. Love it. Hilarious. If I learned anything lately, it's to wait for the first 30 minutes and try not to FOMO. 100%. 100%. Got to wait for the first couple of minutes to get over. Especially with NASDAQ completely diverging. Not a lot of great reads in the market. NVIDIA still plunging lower. And there's another top wick on NASDAQ. Continue up wick, top wick, bottom wick, top wick. So their first 5-minute candle is now completed with a large green with the top wick, and they're beginning to form the secondary 5-minute candle with a small red. $917. Let's hit the refresh in the old options data. RTY is doing exactly what I thought it would do this morning. On back down to test support. RTY is on a long-term downtrend. NASDAQ is at a long-term uptrend. So, to play the long-term trend, you long NASDAQ and you short RTY. I focused a lot more on RTY last week, although nothing executable. But this morning, I'm starting to hammer down a little bit more on it. And, yeah, after we finally broke over 46, limit on down to about 37, 36 or so. NVIDIA is still getting crushed. Remember, especially from my boy Gabagoo, Danny Gabagoo over here, is that NVIDIA is not performing like it used to. So to blindly take calls and buy the dip may be a little bit more difficult. You have to be a little bit more analytical on NVIDIA as they are in a 7-month distribution pattern. Let's see, a trace, hero refresh. Just be careful. 911 on NASDAQ, top wick. What's up, Mahir? Good morning. Top wicking back over. Nice large sweeping red. ES is going lower, 6070 on down. Huge red on NVIDIA. Microsoft is starting to come down red here too. Just be careful. Just be careful. NASDAQ. Let's flip over here. Let's look at that. 45%. Nice. 131. She's now below the major support on NVIDIA we talked about, especially if you listened to the weekly brief. So watch that level. Watch that level. $6069. ES still falling over. If you look at the monthly candle on ES, very tight, very weak. Top wiki, extremely tight range. NASDAQ has an engulfing green. Coming off here now, finally. So 21,900 is going to be the line in the sand for this particular move. We have a CVD red. We have S&P has 6085, liquidity up top, but still drilling lower as everything is going lower. There's a nice little red candle under. $60,900 there. Yeah, AVGO is still continuing to pump. Still continuing to pump. Large green. Nice little top wick on NASDAQ. Everything so far is playing pretty much how I thought here. And I think this week's the week, baby. This week's the week. What's up, Joe? Good morning. Nvidia still plunging lower. Apple rocketing. Daily discrepancies back and forth. Daily back and forth. Done for the day. Nice, Dan. Moving from Nvidia to Tesla and AVGO. Yep. That money's got to come from somewhere. Now NASDAQ is blasting. Blasting. 13 points miles of the money puts took the open. So we have a very robust week this week. I went over my whole strategy last night, building the plan, and I have a pretty. I'm going to stick to that plan. Mondays especially, play the scalps as you need, but I have a very specific plan of what's going to happen this week, and I do expect a VIX mean reversion. I could see VIX over 16, possibly even 18, and of course 2 to 3% move going into the end of the week and the next week in this level. And that's how I'm going to play it. That's how I'm going to play it. There we go. Sweeping top wick again. NASDAQ continuing to sell into strength. Right there. 15-minute is putting on a top wick, so I'm building that VPA pattern, waiting for the first 15 minutes to an hour, or 15 to 30 minutes, and I'm going to make it executable. There's another top wick. $913, beautiful top wick. VPA is about confirmed here. Microsoft new low, and there's your signal. Beautiful. There is your signal. What is that? Huh. $910. Fantastic. I'm expecting VIX to crash lower. Could not disagree more. I don't know that name. Snail. What's up? $909. Took off liquidity up there. We're about to print the first 15-minute candle, and we'll have our first VPA signal. Right there. What time is it? We have 1 minute. 1 minute. Data incoming. Yeah, we got some light data today. Overall, pretty weak stuff, but it'll build into, of course, Wednesday. We have S&P Global Manufacturing, and then that is it for the day. Tomorrow we got retail sales, core retail sales, 20-year bonds. And then Wednesday, of course, we have FOMC. It's another sweeping top wick. Beautiful. Printing lower. Printing lower. First 15-minute candle prints top wick with volume, of course, but it's always the first 15 minutes, so there you go. And then, of course, the follow-through candle. The initial of the algorithm is red. And, of course, we have the POC shifting higher for S&P, lower for NASDAQ. Let's go take a look at the Hero. Hero is major put buy, 1.4 billion in puts and no calls whatsoever. That's on the S&P. We have 6050 SPX and 6085 up top. The whole theme in terms of the triple witching on Friday is a de-anchoring of the market. All of this notional here on the calls is kind of anchoring the market plus or minus on the SPX. That's why the ES is so flat for the past couple of weeks. In fact, the entire month of December, the candle's so tight. But all that notional rolling off should kickstart the volatility here and get us out of this range once all that delta notional kind of rolls off. Y'all are no fun at all today. I feel like I'm talking to myself. It's Monday, baby. The best day of the week. Best day of the week. Let's see, that is flat. Bonds are once again trickling under 90. We barely got to 90 on Friday and then bounced. So I'm still not in any hurry to start long in TLT, although it's certainly a good place to do it. Look, rotation out of RTY. Or, I'm sorry, back into RTY. So we'll see if this leads to a retraction, but right here. Oh, man. The drones are after you? Heck yeah. I feel you. Still can't believe someone hasn't shot one of those things down yet. Another top wick NASDAQ. Saw a bunch of drones over BFW last night. They were all lined up in the sky, each at progressively higher altitudes further away than they were there for the airport. Has to be an HI. I mean, that sounds like approach. If you look out in the distance to like a large airport, when everyone else is on the ILS approach, all the aircraft, they look like that. They're all lined up. They're all perfectly 2 miles apart, exactly straight. I mean, this sounds like aircraft. That's the joke. Oh, well, the video I'm seeing of the drones, they're stationary, so planes can't be stationary, and they're not helicopters. So, I mean, they're definitely drones. It's just where's the origin? That's the thing. Which I think it's government. I just think they're not telling us that it's theirs. That's all. I don't think it's aliens. Microsoft is about to put another low in. Best theory I've heard so far is we are training new drone pilots. Yeah, but we do training all the time over domestic airspace for all sorts of different types of unmanned aircraft, and it's public knowledge. There's no reason to be nefarious about it. So I keep seeing people are posting approach videos, so they look like they're barely moving. Yeah, I've seen some of those too. The one I heard was that they're searching for dirty bombs. I heard that too. Yeah. What do you call a letter that doesn't move? It's stationary. Badumch. 21,940 Nasdaq. I love it. I love it. Has the word drone become synonymous with UFO, UAP? Um, not not. I wouldn't say synonymous, but they're calling all these drones now. Yeah. In this particular instance, I would say yes. The big difference in these is that the word drone is usually applicable to an aircraft that's not physically manned, but there's a difference between unmanned aircraft and drones. Drones are usually autonomously operated, doesn't require inputs from the user other than the initial programming, whereas an unmanned aircraft, you fly it just like you would an airplane. It requires manned input. There's no autonomy about it whatsoever, except you're just not in the aircraft. Oh my gosh. Kermit the Frog. Top wick again, NASDAQ continuing to sell as the POC shifts higher into 944. Microsoft putting another low in. What are they going to do? Hero indicator is still showing very aggressive put buying. 1.7 billion in puts for SPX. But everything else is still just kind of chilling. Hmm. Oh man. AVGO is going again, of course. Tesla's up 2.25. Google's up 2.5%. Microsoft and Nvidia are now red. I need to go check on one more thing here. What time is it? Spider. I bet you they have done it. So in the past 2 weeks, Nvidia has been shifted from the top spot to the number 3 spot. Apple's now number 1. Microsoft is 2. Broadcom is now, AVGO is now number 7. And Tesla's now moved up to number 6. So they're putting all the power names up top now. What's up, JDM? Very cool. Nice book. ES is still smack dab in the middle of the range. NASDAQ blasting a golfing green out of the top 960. Despite Nvidia and Microsoft sliding lower, despite Apple going down, NASDAQ blast up. The divergences continue. Gotta love it. Probably our own government. Oh, 100% it is, yeah. 100% it is. XLF moving lower, NASDAQ 960 and going. First 24 minutes are through, coming up to the top of the hour. How patient can we be to get to the top of the hour? Anyone problems having with Tradeovate today? Don't know. Anyone else? Tradeovate? Working fine. Nice. $968 and going. Nasdaq's now been straight up since 12 o'clock on Friday. Still going. Huge discrepancy between the S&P. $960. What kind of problem? Ironically, my problems in Tradeovate went away when I stopped using it. Yeah. Yeah. I was happy to move away from Tradeovate, although TopStep X has been given more problems than I care to deal with. But I know they're new and they're working through things. I finally got my IBKR working, reworking, so we're good to go there. Ready to execute. How'd I fix it? I deleted every single IBKR related file off my computer and re-downloaded the software after a complete clean wipe, and it worked. So I don't know what was on that prior one, but it worked. I just added a 2 to 3 month dated long INTC position. Find it to be a great value play. I've been back and forth on INTC. I don't like the fact that they got rid of their dividend. From a fundamental play, suspending your dividend is stock suicide. And their last earnings, they missed by 1,800%. 1,800% they missed their last earnings. Not to mention they rejected the 24 level, which I had on as major resistance, and they have colossal sell volume. And they're down from 70 to 20 in about 2 years. So it's a fundamentally rotten stock at the moment. I don't like the way you might be able to catch a bounce, of course, from just a little bounce here. But in terms of a long-term long play, I don't have the same warm and fuzzies that I do with something like Boeing. One more move down, and they're going to be delisted. That's the problem. And if they get delisted, it's going to go under $1 in about 30 seconds. If it goes into the pink sheets or the small caps, no bueno. So a company doesn't suspend their dividend unless there's something severely wrong. And that's coming from someone who loved that stock up until about a year ago. They fired the CEO too, yeah. I'd be wary of entering any kind of long-term position to a start of the new year, honestly. There you go. I like the thought. With the year of AI driving the market, I heard a report that Big Three are looking into their own nuclear reactors. I did hear that as well. Yet I heard that Apple is just about on the verge of opening their first factory in the United States to start creating their own domestically produced semiconductors. Man, look at that. Nasdaq's just rocket ships. We have to pay a monthly fee to use Apple chips? Probably. Probably. Nasdaq coming up to 22,000. Get your screenshots ready. We're about to blow through another milestone. 22,000. I'm looking to swing trade more since I plan on playing options on the ETFs. And should I do my charting on the ETF, or would it be fine to chart the futures and trade ETF? Like charting. USO and CL won't be the same. Qs you can trade on Nasdaq. Yeah. I'd have to look at GLD and GC. I don't think I've ever made the comparison. But yeah, you could trade Qs off Nasdaq. You cannot trade USO off CL. And I'll look at gold. What do you think of the strategy of buying a long strangle on SPY SPX every Monday with an expiration of the Friday that week, then sell when one of the legs goes above 100%? The obvious risk to that is you have an inside week, and you both of them lose. You're fighting delta the entire week, which I don't like. The only way that becomes an exceptionally viable scenario is if you have a big move upwards, and then you close out with an opposite move after you've closed the profitable leg. So I don't really like it. It requires too much perfect timing, and it requires a lot of movement on the market. And you're going to do a lot of breaking even on that. Now, if you catch a huge uptrend of the market one way and it never continues to go, then yeah, sure. I don't think that would have done very well on SPX the past couple of weeks. On NDX, it probably would have worked out pretty well. $990. Microsoft down, Apple's down, Nvidia's down. YM and RTY are rocket ships. ES still flat. We now have $1 billion in calls and $1.5 billion in puts, so they are buying both of those. We just finished the top of the hour, first 30-minute candle. Coming up to 22,000. They're gunning for it. Here it comes. 22,000. Yeah, buyers in full control, yeah. Really hope this rolls over. My puts are getting worked. That's still going. ES still has to reclaim 6083. NASDAQ is obviously tacking 22,000. NASDAQ's been climbing since 12 o'clock on Friday. What do you mean 22,000? No, mine's at 21,981. Unless you're already on, if you're already on March contracts, then yeah. But I'm still on the December contracts. Your broker already adjusted. Nice. TradingView hasn't changed yet. I usually just change over when TradingView changes over. If I was going to buy puts here, I'd be a week out. Yeah, I'm looking at long-term puts out. 6-8 weeks, something like that, and then short against them. $21,977 right there, 22,000. Beautiful top wick, but still not actionable yet. RTY is, let's go 60-minute. Oil got to 71. I'm still looking for about a 74 touch over the next coming week or so for them. Trump's supposed to make a statement today at 11 o'clock Eastern, so in about an hour. Would you enter oil here? Yeah. So my big bounce target was 69. From here, it is back and forth. I think ultimately it will recapture, 73 up to 74. I just don't know how quickly it's going to do that. So would I buy here? There's no signs of a VPA rejection here. There's no signs of any kind of sweeping supply. What they are dealing with now is oil is now just kind of dealing with the pivot from November 21st before they can recapture 73. So if they can hold this level without retesting, they've already retested the 70 area. So as long as they don't break under 70.5, I'm still looking for a long up to 73.75. The risk is 70.5. And AVGO is just rocket ships, dude. Still going. What a crazy 3 days for them. Almost 100 points on their stock price in 3 days. Yeah, that's great. Yeah. It is wild. The largest amount of single-day volume since July of 2018. The third highest volume ever on their stock. Very Nvidia-esque. 100%. Yeah. Enough to make a grown man cry. Yep. As long as they put it in the S&P, I'm good to go. I'm good to go. NASDAQ is still rejecting 22,000. You see this liquidity come on and off. But there's not much to do here except look for the NASDAQ just climbing. See if they can top wick this thing off 20,000, make a decent play. But other than that, no volume in terms of shifting. So far, thesis is still in play. Speaking of Trump, Bitcoin's another frenzy because rumor has it Trump is going to start a BTC strategic reserve. That'd be the biggest waste of taxpayer money in history. Hope he does it. I don't know. I don't know anything about that. 21,970. And I certainly don't want to waste any more taxpayer dollars. There's a lot of waste of taxpayer money to compete with, 100%. Probably on the propaganda papers those drones are dropping. I wish they were dropping coupons to like Chick-fil-A or something. NASDAQ is still holding right up here, 22,000. ES is still now is rolling back over from 60 or 80, which was where that top side was, back to 72. Overall, S&P has been at the same price now for about 2 hours. Back and forth. Maybe stop paying 85-year-old 9-figure senators 1% salaries. Yeah. Yep. Lifetime salaries are ridiculous. You think oil signaled sell on Friday? Man, me and you are like completely on separate pages on almost everything. I don't see a sell on Friday. Oil actually just putting on a pretty ridiculous bottom wick and engulfing candle. We have an engulfing green on Friday and then a heavy bottom wick today, so I'd be careful shorting that. That's printing longs all day long there. In fact, I did a retest of 70.4 and bottom wicked. So, yeah. Your target to get over 71.50 on oil. Once it clears 71.50, I'm looking for 72.88, 73, call it. And then, of course, 74 is my ultimate long-term target. NASDAQ finally rejecting back over just a touch, as is ES. Can't believe Germany let Pelosi live. Yeah. Taxpayer money is like changing sofa cushions the way they've been printing funds and never rebalancing budgets. Well, you know. heard a rumor on a local online chat community that there are drones around my area in Florida. Yeah, I've read them too in my area, but my farm has the highest point in the city, and I could see the skyline all the way around, and I haven't seen any drones. So I think people are just, they want to be a part of it. They want to see the drones. I do. I do too. I want to see them. Are you allowed to shoot them down if you're in airspace? Um, allowed is a conflicted word. You know, is it illegal? Maybe. Do I care what that means? No. If there's a drone flying over my property and it's not in a like Class D or C airspace, if it's under 500 feet, let's say, it's coming down. I'm getting out my 10 gauge. It's coming down. 21,960. Anything under 500 feet. Here's the deal. Anything under 500 feet, you're not allowed to operate an aircraft unless it's Class Echo airspace under 500 feet. So if it's under 500 feet, most likely it's either breaking the law, breaking the rules, or it's something that shouldn't be there. So anything under 500 feet, if you're over my property and surveilling my property, it's coming down. And you can look up, if you could download flight radar, and you can see what the flight paths are in your airspace, and if you can see what altitude the aircraft's at. So as long as it's got a transponder or an ADS-B, it'll show the altitude in the airspace, and it'll show if it's under 500 feet. There you go. There's a nice little red move, by the way, 950 off 22,000. Fantastic. 21,950 still moving lower. I have an ADS-B that I can tab into my system for work. Haven't needed to in a while. Do it. Busting out the 22 for target practice. Yeah. Let's look at my pending dividend payment for the month. Nice. Make sure it's on divvy, baby. Make sure it's on the divvy. If you're under the age of 65, that should be on divvy. I'd say 55. 100%. Or the drip. There's a lot of talk about how dividend strategies are only better than non-dividend when you have a lot of capital. Is there something to that? Well, sure. Yeah, because the more capital you have, the more stocks you've got, then the more dividends you're going to get paid. A lot of people see dividends and be like, I'm getting paid like 10 cents per share, whatever. That's true. But it's not meant to be a get-rich-quick scheme. It's meant to start at 18 years old, and you buy high-quality dividend-paying stocks for 30, 40 years. And then in 30, 40 years, not only do you have 500 to 600 grand in capital wrapped up in stocks, but you're making, 30, 40 grand a year in dividend payments, which then you take those, you reinvest in the drip, so they automatically, your dividend payments are reinvested into the stock, so it grows bigger and bigger and bigger. You get more and more dividends, which grows bigger, 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 and etc. But it takes 30, 40 years to build that up before you can finally start living off your dividends. So the younger you are, if you want to seek out dividend-specific stocks, do it. Now there's some websites you can look up that track that stuff. There's stuff called what's called Dividend Kings, which are stocks that produce a consistent dividend, never suspended, never drops. In fact, it goes up, and they call those dividend kings. So you can actually buy those dividend kings. I think Pepsi and Coke are one of those that never stop paying dividends, and they'll continue to get bigger. But buying dividend stocks is a specific strategy. Look, a little bit more red here, rejecting 22,000. Thank you. So yeah. I'm 25 years old and I have $1,000 in my bank account. How would you suggest me invest this money? Thanks for the help. Or if you talk about investing or trading. Investing, right now, I mean, you can't do much with $1,000. You just have to start. So I would buy a share of SPY and leave the rest of, leave the $400 left there, and then save up another $200 and buy another share, and so on and so forth. Right now, your capital is $1,000. You don't need to do anything sexy or fancy. Nasdaq's still selling off all the way. Beautiful. Large red engulfings right off 22,000. Fantastic. Fantastic. Wow. This is where dollar cost averaging into positions helps you. Where do you see the possible low? Morning low is the first target. Any kind of retraction like this, my first target's always going to be the morning low. Because the morning low allows me to cage my thought instead of, oh, this is going to turn all the way back down to the settlement low, settlement open. I always go for the morning low first. Once we get to the morning low, all right, now we'll talk about something else. So my first target's going to be right at the open here, which is also the morning low, which is about 880, 21,880. See if we can catch it. Dropping back over. Fantastic. All green trades today. Going for a refill on the liquid black drip drug with a splash of heavy cream. Oh yeah. Little coffee. Cup of Joe. Cup of Java. Unless it's Starbucks, then it's a cup of compost. Terrible. Tough to do if you're 75. Yeah, if you're older, if you haven't already invested in dividends and you're 75 years old, I probably wouldn't even worry about that right now. Just right now, you have to do account preservation. Shorts from the top secure. Nice liquidity, Lubu. Beautiful. Cup of milk from Starbucks. Yeah, tell me about it. Nice little bottom wick back up. Yeah, I had a Starbucks 2 weekends ago. It was me and the Mrs. anniversary. And obviously I'd never buy Starbucks, but it was the only coffee around, so I bought one, and it was literally 60% milk. I was like, I feel like I'm a toddler. A cup of milk with some coffee flavoring. Massive bounce back up, and that should stop you out if you were short. At least it did me. He's able to retire at 40. Just made a video a few days ago with his portfolio update. Valued at $3 million. He gets paid 1.3 year dividends. Yep. $100%, man. 100%. If you are young, the number one obstacle to people becoming millionaires in their older ages is just the either laziness or the fear of starting something. So if you're under the age of 30, heck, if you're just start buying long-term stocks. If you want to do dividend investing, then start buying dividend investing. Go buy one today and do one every month until you can do 2 a month, and then 3 a month, and then 4 a month, and then whatever. And then invest in the drip. Forget about the money. Forget about the dividend coming to you now. It was accused VPA 5-minute. Yep, that is a very high volume bottom wick on NASDAQ. They just dropped it back over 70 points and then hammered it down your throat in 30 seconds all the way back up. So that is definitely a VPA bottom wick. Discipline to stick to everything. Yeah. A lot of people complain about not having the things they want, but if you think deep down, they like being average. They like being weak. They like being poor, because being weak, poor, and lazy allows you the freedom to do whatever you want. It allows you the freedom to watch Netflix for 6 hours a day and eat ice cream and cake and not have to worry about responsibility. Because it's not more money, more problems. It's more money, more responsibility. Who people fumble the responsibility and turn it into problems. But more money, more problems doesn't sound like a good rap song. Or more money, more responsibility. Stay hard, that's right, Red Hot. Yeah. 22,000. Speaking of more money, I got a quote for those permanent holiday lights to be put on my house. Yeah, that's out. I didn't realize that holiday lights were made out of gold, or Bitcoin, I should say. I'm dropping my new track, To Whom Much is Given, Much is Required. Yeah, I love it. Oh, man. Was it the lights themselves or the install? The lights in the install together. They wanted $30 a foot. $30 a foot. And I have like 750 linear feet of soffits. It came out to about $24,000. I was like, you are out of your mind. Get off my property. Get out. Now you got me thinking about the responsibility mentality brought to you. There you go. Got my missus to buy a global fund 3 years ago, and she's been raving about her almost 40% gain. She was skeptic at first, but now is fully into it. 100%, man. Best thing you can do for your kids, best thing you do for yourself is start investing now. You want to change your family tree? Start doing it now. I changed my family tree. My family tree was a dumpster fire. I changed it from buying stocks. Easiest thing in the world. There's no reason everybody in America can't be a millionaire. No reason. I knew I'm seeing a little beginning. Sorry. Retest of 990 will get you 22 thou. All liquidity is at 22 thou, so I could see that popping. You could have drones fly around your house with red and green Christmas lights. That's a fantastic idea, actually. Got on that bottom look. Nice, Uncle Bill. Beautiful. That was a hammer VPA bottom right there. Quickly. It's set up quickly. Back to 990. There it is. Coming to 22,000. Look like a bottom of a VWAP too. Yep. With the 5-minute, 15-minute, 15-minute VWAP is pretty interesting. It used to be the market moves down faster than it goes up. Now it's the other way around. 100%. Wise knows. Yeah. Yeah. That was your entry. Beautiful guess. There's the 22,000 liquidity. Right there. NASDAQ is up almost 400 points since Friday afternoon. About 350 points. Is this it? Can you tell if the market is moving by algos or big money? Yes, with volume. Volume will tell you true sentiment of the market. It'll tell you what's really occurring. If you see big volume, that's the general market buying in. One reason or another, big players or multiple big players are buying into the market. Today's been a pretty dang low volume day, though. This whole morning on the NASDAQ has been very low volume. In fact, it's the lowest amount of volume we've had as far back as I can scroll. So I'm already back to October, and it's still lower than all that. So it's very low volume. Just an upward today is more likely just algorithmically driven into the upside. On the new contract, there you go. Oh yeah, on the March contracts, yeah. Caught the bounce on Tesla. Nice side gig. Very welcome, Maddie. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The best time is now. 100%. I have a lot of good tree metaphors. Trees are a great metaphor. High volume, my squat workout. Drop weight significantly so I can get super deep. Oh yeah, that's great. Another news, been talking with Robert as of recent on how to get clients for digital agency work. One thing we noticed in traditional corporate, you got to have the right certs and say the right things or know the right people. But nowadays there are more than quite a few young people who are working openly, sharing design agency work, getting clients. You can really make a nice gut by sharing your speed, showing your good head on shoulders. Build a nice inbound clientele. Yeah. Yep. I like it. Caught most of that small drop. Caught a decent amount back up. Beautiful, Twizzy. NASDAQ is still going 22,000. It's now almost 24 hours worth of trading time of straight up action. Phenomenal. Almost 400 point bounce since Friday afternoon. Straight up. Still going. Have they sold the puts? Let me look. Gotta hit refresh. $100-point bounce alone on NASDAQ right here. Crazy. Can't get it to load. They sold some of the puts. They went to 2.7 billion and then sold back to 1.4, and then but now they're in the process of buying some calls. So it's very active on both sides of the tape. All 30-minute indications on NASDAQ are just blasteronies. Major bottom wick with engulfing greens. Another big blast off on NASDAQ. Wow. When you have a moment, you show us where you saw the VPA signals on NASDAQ to short-term bottom. Signal short-term bottom is so small. Yeah, you talking about that big bottom wick we just had a couple minutes ago? It's there. It happened very, very quick. So like, it showed up quickly. But just by the time you saw it, it was already up, 50 points, 60 points. It just happened quickly. But let's take a look. It was speed and volume. So let's go to the 5-minute. Right there. So you see that so you see right there on the 5-minute hammer, we've got obviously a pretty aggressive hammer wick just under the 15-minute VWAP. That's the 5-minute I'm showing you. And it bounced off of the 21,920, which is where we kind of got caught up earlier this morning with that little red candle, and then an influx of volume that was the third highest volume candle of the day. So that's great. It happened so quick, you're already missing 50, 60 points of it, and at that point you're thinking, all right, well, we're going to reject the prior rejection. It's a hard move to catch when it happens that fast. That's the nature of short-term trading, is that moves like that happen very quick. So, there you go. You're welcome, buddy. Liquidity coming on at 975. I would probably say 2020, get this little block here at 15 or so. I really like setups like bounces on rejection on VWAP, anchored VWAP on the lower or higher time pivot. Nice. Yeah, the 15-minute VWAP, I've had the 15-minute VWAP turned on for a couple weeks now. It worked pretty well, especially on a trend. On the range day, obviously, it doesn't work. But on the trends, it shows a good little indication. I've always said that if there's one line I had to keep on my chart, it would be VWAP, because it's more of a median price than an EMA or something like that. $21, 22,013. Remember, Trump is speaking at 20 minutes. output vehicle or supercar. Back testing, some people use EMAs, and if they work, they just happen to be there around accurate UAPs. I completely agree with that statement. Completely. So apparently Wright-Patterson Air Force Base just shut down their airspace for unknown UAP activity. Interesting. Oh, man. I heard Biden administration is planning to ban Russian oil tankers worldwide. Oh, man. Yeah, that's one of the fundamental reasons why I'm looking to long oil to the upside is because a lot of the catalysts, such as those type of things, that will increase oil pretty aggressively. Not to mention, as we get closer and closer to a normal in the market, oil is not typically this cheap for long. I mean, if you go back prior to coronavirus, the last time oil was this, CL has never been this cheap. Um, we had some prices in 2015 that got down to 80, but the CL futures product has never been this cheap before coronavirus. $22,000 still holding. You see them building a little structure down lower here. ES has not really much on the tape. The first iceberg filled at 77. Tesla's been ripping, yeah. Absolutely just ripping and tearing. Straight up since the election, pretty much. ES has now been at the same price since last week in November. Just back and forth. NASDAQ is just launching. What are your thoughts on using unusual flow to build a thesis on a ticker? Um, as long as you're using it, as long as you've got other indications to back up the thesis, I don't mind it. Options data as a sole analytic is difficult to compile because a lot of it is positional or some sort of strategy. However, if you are, let's say, technically long from a technical perspective on a product, and you see, for example, institutional buying over the course of weeks to the very small or very large scale, and then the calls starting to support that, then I don't mind that stuff. I think it could help as long as you have a technical and fundamental analysis to support the theory. Man, this market's not moving now. It's tight. Six or eight one. So just like we saw that big bottom wick come in with volume to the top, or to the bottom side up to the top, we need to look for the other way if you want to look for a downside theory. Now, obviously, the risk reward for long it becomes lower the higher you go, and this thing's been on a rampage since Friday morning. So, good news in Canada: Christina Freelance, aka the Ukrainian Nazi, resigned. Nice. I don't know who that is, but congratulations. New Top Step X feature. You now have the power to set trade limits and have control over trading. Customize daily, weekly limits. Interesting. Anybody have any new funded accounts on props? Anybody have their first funded account on props? I'm in the Bluesky live brokerage now. Taking them time to set up my second account with them. Nice. I've never really talked about this, but in my medium-term portfolio, I hold individual stocks that show relative strength to others in their sector and are in a sector that shows relative strength to the market. I hold anywhere from 6 months to 3 years. It's the only place where I hold individual tickers. Do you have accounts you trade for the medium term? I don't. I only have 2 trading-based accounts, and I call it a trading account, but it's really an investment account. One for my long-term port that I hold all my stocks, individual stocks and ETFs, and one I have for this style of trading here that I do with y'all. I passed 2 more evals from Black Friday discounts last week, but I haven't activated them. Blew 2 funds last week. have one now. The reason why I'm asking is because I want to run an ex, experiment with someone that traditionally has struggled with funded accounts with prop firms, who has a newly funded account, who's never taken a payout. That's what I would like to see, and I want to see if I could work with them, even if I have to do it via DMs if you're not comfortable talking about it in private or in public, and follow along with you and help you and be kind of like your trading partner, and only do micro accounts, because I want to know what's causing you to blow up accounts, and I need to know the nit and gritty stuff that you don't really want to talk about. If you're max positioning 10 minis and blowing up, then I want to know that. If you're trading too many minis, I want to know that. If you're over trading 50, 60 times a day, I want to know that. So someone who's willing to kind of give the deets and work through the process, and kind of go from there. Yeah, if I can kind of quote unquote hold your hand and keep you from over trading and stick to the micros, and let's see if we can get your funded account to trade 30 or 20 sessions, which is a month. 20 trading sessions is 30 days is a month. If you can keep the account open for an entire month, 20 sessions, that right there will probably, inherently lead you to profitability through the process of risk mitigated execution. So if that's something you want to do, shoot me a DM. I'll be happy to do it with multiple different people. Or if you want, we could start even a little group if we want to share that in a channel, and go from that. How would you catalog that? It's not even necessarily for content, although content production would be great for it. It's to see if I can actually help someone, because I know the problem here being in the Discord is that a lot of people just don't want to share their struggles and tribulations and stuff, and I get it. It sucks to share that stuff. So if I could do it on the back end, where you don't have to worry about publicly being humiliated or something like that, then I think it'd be a better opportunity for me to help. And it's been a little slow the past couple of weeks. I haven't taken many trades the past couple of weeks. So if I can help a little more hands-on with that, I think it's a better application of time. And if we could turn it into a public thing, like maybe a specific channel where we can kind of get together. But the thing is, it's going to require a little it's going to require a little discipline on your part, because you have to do the things that I'm helping you try to do, and you have to be 100% upfront with me. That's the thing. If you're telling me you're doing micros, but you're slinging 15 NASDAQs, then I can't help you. But just like everything, when you got I made a tweet yesterday, is that the number one person to fight, it's not even you versus the market. It's not even that. It's you versus you when you're trading. So you've got to be able to control yourself when that urge to sling 10 NASDAQs is there. So yeah, that content would be priceless. 100%, yeah. But yeah, publicly being humiliated works great for me. Fuels me to do better. Yeah, me too. A lot of military guys are good with that stuff, though, myself included. I know. %80 of the time it's emotion. I'd say it's even higher than that, Casey. I'd say 95 to 99% of it, it's emotions. Think about this. The average trader does worse than 50-50. Meaning, you could literally have a little button that randomly selects a buy or a sell at any specific time and hit it blindly without doing any kind of analysis, and you would do better than the average trader. Why is it? Why is that the case? The market, you only have two choices, up or down. If you do options, obviously, there's more variables, theta, delta, all that crap. But if you're just strictly buying a stock or a futures, you only have two choices, up or down, buy or sell, short or long. So why is it that we struggle so much for basic decisions? One, there's a whole plethora of different technical reasons. You simply just don't know what you're doing. But the vast majority of the time, the spotlight is on you being a human fighting a computer. Emotions. Why is it that you happen to short at the exact worst time or long at the exact worst time? long the high, short the low. Because you're waiting. The market makes a move that's designed to get you to do what you're doing. You're sitting there waiting in consolidation. You see a big red candle that's designed to sweep lower and bounce, and you short the very bottom, or the other way around. So it's all about managing your emotions, or you're over positioning and not giving yourself enough time, or and all the other crap that we talk about 87,000 times. So if I can help with that aspect, if I can get one person to finally pass a funded account and finally take a payout, one person I think would be a fantastic success, and that's my goal. I want to get one of you jabronis to pass an account. I thought about doing this too. I thought about doing this as part of Tier 2. Hear me out. Get me a burner cell phone and give Tier 2 that cell phone number, so you could text me anytime when you've got a trading problem. And I'll text you. We could be friends. And we can, so if you need help at some certain point, then I can help you. Lifetime subscription right there. I'll get me a burner phone for that. That's Tier 3. Yeah. the Luigi Mangiano burner. I love it. All you get is picture of foods, yeah. Starting at all props I've done this year, it's shocking. It may be shocking to you, man, but I've seen some horrific numbers of people who just get caught up in the prop firm game. So, I at this point, I don't think I can be surprised. So, I love it, Dan. I love it. Got a whole bunch of DMs already. So what I'll do is I'll try to do it on a one-on-one basis with DMs. But if we want to move it to a channel, what I'll do, here's what I'll do. I'll create a channel in a role that's the channel itself is locked for the role. So if you want to be a part of it, DM me and I'll add you the role to it. We could do that too. That way, only the people that want to be involved in it can see it, and it's not for everyone to see unless you just want to. That way, we can learn from one another. So, I don't know. I'm just thinking. I'm thinking off the fly here. Thinking out of the fly here. That sounds like the way. Yeah. I'm bored in a church parking lot now, waiting for my wife to come back to the car, booking my son's baptism. Gotta click the gabagoo. Does it have to be props only? No, not at all. I mean, my intent is to get someone to take a payout, but absolutely not. Real money for sure. That's even better if I can get you to be successful with your own money. Hopefully, that's what we're doing here. But this is not going to be a technical thing. My intent is not to show you technical setups because that's what we do here every day. It's providing emotional and I guess like feeling stuff, I guess like a therapy session where I could keep you from just doing dumb stuff. Targeting your risk management, both emotional and from a contract execution standpoint. And the thing is, you all know what you're doing anyway. Y'all know what you're doing wrong. You just probably need a hand to hold. You probably need a buddy to talk to. Say, hey, jabroni, don't max out NASDAQs. My wife has been doing that for 30 years. I'm a 3-second scalper. I need a ton of therapy. If you go down to 1 or 2 micros, you will be done scalping because you can't make any money scalping micros. If you scalp a micro, you're going to make like $4. So in order to hold 3 minute, okay. In order to make any kind of money on micros, you've got to hold them. But obviously, there's some technical analysis to do there too. Yeah, then you size up 100%. And then you'll be surprised, man. Then dollar cost averaging becomes a viable strategy for you, as long as it's technically sound, of course. If you're looking to buy at a support, you can't expect the market to tap your one little number and then bounce. So it's going to be in like a 20 or 30 point range on NASDAQ. So if you could dollar cost average in on a pre-approved plan, it works out pretty well for you. But you can't do that when you're slinging 10 NASDAQs. It always feels like moneymakers play off human instinct. Like illusionists and mentalists play off psychology. Yeah, 100%. But, have you read the book Complete Guide to holy crap, Complete Guide to Volume Price Analysis by Anna Colling? She talks about why that exactly happens. The market has to get you, in order to short the market, here's the deal. In order for the market to go down, they have to create willing buyers. In order to get the market to go up, they have to create willing shorts, willing bears. Because that's the fire that kicks off the liquidity moves. Because in order to get you buying, in order for them to sell their product, to sell their inventory, they have to get you buying. So, Brian Brazier comes in, logs into the market. Oh, this is a great day to buy. You hit buy, and the market cranks down 3% because they have now created retail as a willing buyer. So the market always looks like it's going to do something and does the other stuff. That's why retail, the number one problem, they have an uncanny ability to short the lows and buy the highs because the market looks like it's supposed to until it doesn't in order to induce liquidity. I only do debit spreads on NDX. Yeah. I've played NDX a few times in my lifetime. It's too spicy for me. It's like Thai chili number 5-star type spicy. I've tried Thai 5-star spiciness. It's unreasonably spicy. I said there's no one that enjoys that type of spice. Thai food's one of my favorite foods of all time. But there's no need for 5-level spice. It's like, come on. There's a whole crap ton of DMs. Y'all want to do this, don't you? I like it. If there's this many people, I'm not going to be able to take on one at a time. We'll have to do the channel thing. I didn't realize that this many people would want to do that. Jabroni's Anonymous meeting. I'd be interested. Full psych study. Yeah, I've got at least 50 DMs. So that's a lot. We'll have to do a channel. I'll do both. How about that? I'll try to help as much as I can, one-on-one, and then we'll do a channel too. Drunken noodles. Well, now I know. Oh man, drunken rice and drunken noodles. Fantastic. Fantastic. Can I put it on my HSA? Yeah. File a claim that we're doing some psych stuff. I've been taking 3 steps forward and end up taking 3 steps back on these funded. Do you know your problem? Having trouble taking losses. I understand that. You're in deep now. Yeah. I'm JJ and I'm a jabroni. It's been 8 minutes since I last jabronied. Trump say anything? I'm not watching. I don't know. Meeting a friend for Thai today. 0 days since the last jabroni incident. Love it. One-on-one coaching fee is probably worth $100,000 in value. I don't know. I don't know. I'll tell you, when if you remember tier 3, back when we first started, I did one-on-one. That was the tier, and it was too much. I had like 70 people, and like literally, after I got off stream, I would do one-on-one coaching all day, every day for a month straight. Like I was exhausted. I was like, I can't do this anymore. And that's how I came up with tier 2. You could charge more. I could. I guess it's that imposter syndrome. It's I have a hard time charging people $200 because I guess it's part of who I am for an hour. But yeah, quiet you. Yeah, quiet yourself. Let's see. I wanted to gift a book to a family member that you recommend for becoming a father to a son. Could you remind me what it's called? If you're doing a son, Strong Fathers. Or no, Raising Men. I'm sorry. Raising Men. It's by a Navy SEAL. Fantastic book. If you have a daughter, Strong Daughter, Strong Fathers is the best book I ever read. You'll cry more than you ever cried, though, if you read it. It's terrible. But it's still, I read that book. I first read that book 10 years ago, and it still affects every decision I make with my daughter now. As long as you have a back-tested plan and stick to it, you should be okay. Most people just go by the seat of their pants. Yep. Oh, I'm just stumbling upon a new channel of video material. 100%. Yeah. Lance charged $1,000 for a 3-hour Zoom session where he explained all his trades on AMC. On the day it went to 60, he posted on YouTube recently. It's a great video and taught me a lot. Nice. Nice. $15. We're going into breakaway format here. I know when I was dumping, I didn't have this. There you go. Yep, I know. Small caps have been in a downtrend for a while. They've been rotational. Everything's rotation the past couple weeks. Is that true? Yeah. What do we have here? Part of learning this stuff too. Part of learning this stuff is doing less. It's doing less. A lot of people, especially in the community, compliment me on my patience. I was like, yeah, it's not really patience though, although I guess it could be. It's I don't mind doing nothing. Like I don't mind being uninvested. It gives me a superpower to snipe something that I really like instead of worrying about stuff. Now, yeah, sometimes it causes me to miss out on moves, which, to me I'm okay with. Because all I need is one good execution, one good play, and I'm good for the day. Absorbing 22,034. I think I'm about to put on a micro NASDAQ to leave on for the afternoon. I don't do that very often, but I like that play. I like that play. We just absorbed the final liquidity on the book. One more thrust, maybe? I don't know. Lance, yeah. I bought some of his stuff. I like his concepts. I like his concepts. doesn't have very many followers, but I like his concepts of waiting and executing one single setup. Look, more liquidity down here, 21,990. Yeah, I'm going to take it. I'm going to take it for the afternoon. I've already got my one trade on today, but I think I'm going to get into a couple of micros and just kind of hold it for a few hours. I like it here. And then I'm going to spend some time answering these DMs and get stuff set up. Get stuff set up here. What levels am I thinking for a drop? This 75 would be fantastic, and here's why I say that. Not only is it bookmap liquidity, but it's also the support resistance test from this morning. 21,975 would be fantastic. And from there, we could look at other stuff, but I like it. Not to mention, it's also kind of right around that morning high pivot area. But I really think you charge a lot for one-on-one. It's not only that you're a great trader, but you're also offering to find out exactly what people are doing wrong and be a therapist. Top tier coaches can charge buku bucks. If you're tired of running the server, you can consider moving up and just doing one-on-one trader. Yeah, it's a great point. You know, I definitely could. I just want to make sure that right now I couldn't commit to that because I have a lot going on with the house, and I want to be able to commit to people one-on-one. But you never know. You never know. Honestly, I have let my business strategy with the server has been very interesting the past couple of years. I pretty much let you all guide my business strategy. Whatever y'all's needs are or wants is kind of where I turn the business to. Just listening to the consumer, I guess. The customer. So if there's a need for it, I'll fill it. Do you expect sideways action or no major news continuing the Santa rally until triple witching? I gave my thesis in the weekly brief yesterday, and my thesis was early week green and then red into the end of the week. We have $7 trillion in delta notional coming off on Friday, which almost all of it is calls. And we've been on a pretty green tear for a couple of months now. So I do think they'll roll off the exposure. I do expect to see some pretty decent red into or around Friday after this week's green. That's my thesis. Are you going long NASDAQ now? No, I'm looking to get into a short on some micros, just to hold. If it comes, watch it be Thursday. Friday will be chop. Most likely, yeah. Yeah. Look at the liquidity coming on in 21,975. What time is it? 10:14. That song you're whistling reminded me of a rock band. It's Fall Out Boy. It just came across my Spotify. So I was whistling it. Love it. Trying to convince my mom to do the same thing right now. She's one of the best dog trainers in Texas, and her boss gives her the short end of the stick. She's definitely at the point of knowledge skills where she could ditch the business and do one-on-ones. That'd be awesome. My my father-in-law did the same thing. He's an electrician by trade, and he's owned his own electrician business now for 40 years. And he only did new construction, so he would go in and wire a brand new house, a whole house. And he realized after doing, he finally started getting some service calls. That service calls is where the money is, the one-on-one service call. Some old lady calls him and says, hey, can you change out an outlet for me? He charges him the hourly rate, and he does it. Or any job, putting up a fan, replacing a circuit, whatever, troubleshooting a problem. And he makes a killing. And now he's, in his late 60s, early 70s, and that's all he does is service calls now. And he makes a killing doing these service calls, these one-on-one service calls. That's where the real money is. He makes more doing that than he did wiring entire houses. Charging grandmas? No, but no, he still has to charge people for his time. But just every little thing, from replacing an outlet to troubleshooting a breaker, and everything in between. So there's a lot of truth to that, Tofu. A lot of truth to that. What's up, VorFX? Did you convince your boy about volume yet? What's my short thesis? My short thesis here is the fact that we've hit that 22,000 and extended into it for liquidity. We have got liquidity starting to come on for the first time today, down to 21,975, and it's a support resistance retest. VIX is heading on back higher, which obviously doesn't affect the Nasdaq, but it does correlate to the S&P. And we're starting to see Microsoft kind of shake and bake a little bit. So I'm looking to get into just a micro to hold for the rest of the afternoon. I've been using VIX, Microsoft, Google, Tesla, Apple, SPY as reference. He's a lost cause. I love it. I love it. Just the whole morning going back to fixing the leaky roof until help arrives. Nice. Leaky roofs aren't fun. How do you plan your exits? Do you wait for the candle to finish, or do you go out in the middle? I seem to struggle with that. On shorter time frames, you can't really sometimes wait for the candle to finish because you'll get wiped out before the candle even closes. So that's why I use a trailing stop mechanism. Depending on where the price action gets to and what target I have, is when I'll kind of trim up the trailing stops or roll it. And then, of course, if I want to take more risk, I'll leave a wider trailing stop, less risk. I'll do a tighter stop. Time to give the day job some attention. Nice. Taught me a lot about only trading in play stocks with a lot of volatility because it has more EV and all styles of setup. Yeah, that's pretty much the same concept I got from the stuff I watched from him. Is that he only plays the same setup. He identifies the setup he wants and he goes and finds it on individual names, which is, pretty much what I did before the index stuff, and that's what I'll be going back to. But yeah, I like it. TLT new low of the day, 22,035. Coming up on 11:30, which is where we'll call it a day. Any individual names you're possibly looking at? Not at the moment, but that stuff will come back on our radar. In fact, we're in the process of shifting a lot of the tier 2 stuff to that. Is getting into individual names and getting back into swing trades. You know, I've taken what, about 10 swing trades this year, and that's where the bread and butter is, and that's all you really need. We just have to get that going. It's still going. 22,050. What have we done to Nasdaq? Yeah, capitulation play from ES being down 20 points, way different from Nvidia capitulating after selling off 15%. ES will probably bounce or shake people out or blow out Nvidia. Likely have a V recovery because so many people buy the dip. Well, the name of the game the past couple of weeks is rotation. Rotation in and out of Nvidia, in and out of small caps, etc., etc. So, if you start to see some selling on Google, Tesla, AVGO, I bet your butt Nvidia will bounce. So look for the scoop and score play as the money rotates in and out of these mega cap names to kind of plunge protection. I bet you. AVGO is going crazy. Nvidia's selling off. Yep. Yep. That 130 level will be important for Nvidia to fall under did October 23. Yep. All right, last final minutes here. We've got 22,040 here on NASDAQ. Still trickling higher until we get the VPA really signal for any kind of top. So I could just kind of fade higher and higher and higher. Nvidia still down, Microsoft up, about to take out high of the day. TLT is still going lower. They're approaching last week's lows, at which point it's back under 90, which is what I want. I want a VIX. I want a bonds as low as I can get them, so I can start to trickle in. Bitcoin's at 106,000. Am I still liking the short if it continues to go up? Yeah, I mean, I do think we're going to have a profit-taking event here back down at 975. Like I said, I'm not looking for a complete reversal on the day, just some profit-taking. That's why I'm only doing a micro or two and just kind of going off and making lunch and doing my thing for the rest of the afternoon. Crazy the market is rising as well as the VIX. Yep, the VIX is rising, and I think that's going to be the theme this week. The VIX is going to continue to go up and up this week for a mean reversion. The VIX is now bottomed out, and that's supported by the option chain as well. The VIX being in the upper 12s, lower 13 for when are they entered this range? For over a month now. There's not too much downside left on the VIX. They've already retested the 12s, which is the baseline support for this market. And now they're going to pop back up and reclaim 16, maybe even 18, especially the week of FOMC and triple witching before another move. So, and that's what's happening. When that occurs, and the telltale sign of that actually occurring, is the VIX going up alongside the indexes. When the VIX starts doing that, you know that the VIX is pretty much bottomed out for the week, or for the current session. VIX is basically how much downside protection is put on. Correct. So the higher VIX means smart money is getting bearish. Correct. That's exactly what it means. And the time to do that is at the highs. So it doesn't, that's why it doesn't necessarily mean, people call it the fear index, but I don't look at it as that. I look at it exactly what you just said. Is that the higher prices means cheap puts, cheap IV, it's time to put on protection. And the VIX starts popping back up. That's why in certain market conditions there is a floor for the VIX. The VIX can't fall below a certain point during certain market conditions because of that theory. And that, for here, is about upper 12s, lower 13s. And then, of course, you have mean reversion. You flush out, or recalibrate, 2 to 3% drop in the indexes, and VIX goes to about 16 to 18. All right, y'all. Coming up on 11:30, I'm going to call it a morning. I got a lot of DMs to kind of get through here with our new idea. I like idea. I think it's going to be fantastic. So I'll get through those, and then most likely I'll go ahead and create a channel so we can kind of discuss there from a group perspective as well. So any additional questions, let me know. Any additional thoughts, also let me know. Remember, FOMC is on Wednesday. That's the big dog. I don't know if I'll stream it. Last time it was a nothing burger. But we'll see. Hope you have a good rest of the day. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll see you tomorrow. I'm out. See ya!